My name is Donna Monk, and I've been a math teacher since 1975. And so I'm going to show you some materials right now that help students understand a lot of math concepts. That helps them learn to read a ruler and understand fractions and angles and so forth, telling time. These materials are used all over the country. All different age groups use them, and they're also scientifically research-based according to the Whitehurst standards, so to prove that they actually do work. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the master ruler. Master ruler is a ruler that helps students understand how to read any standard or metric measuring device. The master ruler has been broken down to inches, and then we add the half-inch marks that are blue, the quarter-inch marks that are green, and they're shorter than the blue marks, the eighths that are orange, and they're shorter than the quarters, and then the sixteenths that are the shortest lines on the ruler, and so students understand how any standard or metric measuring device is actually designed. All the overlays are color coordinated and labeled, so you can use each overlay independent of the others or in conjunction with the others if you choose. Now I'm going to show you some concepts that can be used for, and the first thing I'm going to do are fractions. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a regular block, and I'm going to position it against the inch overlay, and I'm going to say that this block is 1 inch, or it's also 2 halves, or it's 4/4, or 8/8, or 16/16. So students can see how that the number is getting larger, but the fractional increment's actually getting smaller. So then we ask students, what makes this a 16th? This overlay 16ths, what makes those little spaces 16ths? Or we ask them, why are these spaces called eighths? Because we want them to understand that the denominator, that the number of pieces that the whole thing is divided into determines the name of the denominator. So they can learn a lot of fractions with this. Okay, I'm going to show you one example of other concepts that it can be used for. I'm going to use little Lego bricks for this. They're wonderful to use with the master ruler because of the right fractional increment. So we can use it as a discovery tool first. This Lego brick is less than 1 whole, it's greater than 1/2, it's between 1/2 and 3/4, and finally as they flip the overlay, they see that this Lego brick is actually 5/8. So now so they can see what the numerator and the denominator actually represent. So now we're going to take this Lego brick and we're going to add fractions with common denominators. I'm going to take my 5/8 inch Lego. I'm going to add 5/8 to it to get 10/8, which, because it's an improper fraction, I'm going to convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. So I'm going to take my overlays, flip them under my eighth. I'm converted 10/8 to 1 2/8, and now I'm going to simplify that to 1 1/4. So they can see all of this math, they can see it at the concrete as well as the abstract level. Makes it very easy for them to understand. That's one concept. The next concept that I'm going to talk about are mixed numbers. Again, I'm going to use Lego bricks for this. Okay, and I'm going to use a different size Lego. I'm going to use one Lego brick that is 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to add 1 1/4 plus 1 1/4 to get 2 2/4. I'm going to simplify that to 2 1/2. Again, they can see the math as they're doing the work. Another concept I'm going to show you, I'm going to add improper fractions. First, I'm going to use my 1/4 inch overlay, and I'm going to demonstrate or illustrate that this block is 5/4. So they can see what the numerator 5 represents and what the denominator 4 represents. Over on the edge, every one of the overlays, as I said before, color coordinated and labeled, so they can see that these spaces are fourths. So they understand what the 5/4 means. Now I'm going to add 5/4 plus 5/4 to get 10/4. And using my overlays, I'm going to flip the inch, the half, underneath the quarter, and I've converted 10/4 to 2 2/4, and I'm going to simplify that to 2 1/2. Okay, another concept I'm going to show you is adding fractions with uncommon or compatible denominators. So I'm going to add 1 1/4 plus my 5/8. Now they see they have to flip the 1/8 inch overlay to get the actual length of the Lego brick. So as they flip it, they see that the answer is 1 7/8. 8 has become your common denominator, so you're adding 1 2/8 plus 5/8 to get 1 7/8. So you can see it's very versatile. It's used for a lot of different concepts. This is the student version of the master ruler, the inch version, that actually has information printed on the back of the ruler. And again, as I said, all the overlays are color coordinated and labeled. This is the teacher's model of the master ruler, that all the overlays are clear. This can be used on the overhead projector. And of course, what we want to do with our rulers, we want to make sure that they can read any traditional ruler. So we're going to take that information and transfer it to their ruler, whether it be standard ruler or metric ruler. This is the metric version of the master ruler that has a solid backing. It has decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters on it, so students can understand how to read the metric ruler. You can also use it for decimals. These are some Cuisenaire rods. If I put this Cuisenaire rod on here, we can see it's 1 decimeter, or it is 10 centimeters, or 100 millimeters. Okay, we can also use it for decimals, where we're going to add decimals. I'm going to use Cuisenaire rods again, and I'll use this Cuisenaire rod, which is 9/10. If our decimeters are 1 whole, that Cuisenaire rod is 9/10. This Cuisenaire rod is 5/10, so I can add 5/10 plus 9/10 are 14/10, or 1 4/10. 1 decimeter and 4/10. Or if for a little higher level student, you may want to say it's 1.4, so forth. Okay, so you can use it for decimals as well as teaching them to understand how to read a metric ruler. This is a reproducible workbook that also accompanies the master ruler. Students are measuring inches, halves, quarters, eighths, sixteenths. I'm going to show you one example here of how the ruler can be used. I'll take these butterflies. Say we're going to have students measure the butterfly wings to the nearest inch. So they would take their ruler, position it, and they would see that the butterfly wings are 1, 2, 3 inches. Okay? Or we could use it for many other concepts. I'm just going to show you one, perimeter and area. If I say this rectangle, the scale is 1/4 of an inch equals a foot, then they get their 1/4 inch overlay, they lay it down, and they count the quarters in their length, count the quarters in their width, and plug in the formula. So it makes it very easy for them to understand these concepts. With the metric ruler, I'm going to show you how to use it with a map that has scale drawing on it. Again, I said you can use it for many things, and you can use it throughout the whole year. So this map has a metric scale. So we're going to look at our map. We're going to find the monarch butterfly. The scale is 1 centimeter equals 800 kilometers. So we find the monarch butterfly, lay down our ruler, and we measure the distance that the butterfly is actually migrating, which would be 6 centimeters, or times 800, 4,800 kilometers. You can do many things with the master ruler, but basically we want students to understand how to use any standard or metric measuring device. We also offer staff development, where we come into your school or your school district, and every teacher gets a classroom set of the materials as part of the workshop. So not only do they have the materials, but they have the training to use it for many different concepts also.